Now we are going to create a connection for us to control the FK spine, and for that we need to create a new controller. So I'm going to just create a nerve circle, and this one I'm going just to bring it up. I'm gonna hide my geometry, just show the joints so I can see, and I'm gonna snap that to the root joint, and I'm going to rename this fk underscore root underscore control, and I'm going to group that object and then give it the same name with the word group at the end, fk underscore root underscore control underscore grp. Make sure the pivot point for that is mapping exactly there in the middle. And now we are going to make the join, the FK join, that is right there, the one, not the one that with the main character, but the one that is the one that we created last, the second spine, the FK spine. That join, when I find it here, that join is going to become a child of this controller. So that way this controller will drive that, and the group of that, it's going to become a child of the old character group. Let me just grab that and just grab it and dump it there. Now we want to generate control, a way to control the FK and to turn it on or off so that we can manipulate this. Right now, this object, if I use it, I can control my character this way, and I have some control of FK control for this, also with this one too. So I can control my characters in FK. So I need to create an attribute. I think it's better to put it here in the main controller, and we're gonna create an attribute there, and this attribute is going to be the IK spine switch, or could be IK FK spine switch. So let's call it just IK spine switch, and I'm going to make it minimum 0, maximum 1. So you can create that one, and that gets added to the list there. And we are going to use that as a way for us to control the shoulders, and later on the controllers, the FK, the shoulders, the root, and the FK controllers for the spine. So let's just work on that, and for that we're going to generate a connection through the connection editor. So I'm going to say connection editor, and I'm going to load my main controller there, and I'll look for the new attribute that I just created, and I'm going to start connecting the shoulder box, the one that I have there. I'm going to load that one on the right. And what we're going to do here, let me open the attribute for this, is that under the control of that shoulder, we have the limit information, and we are going to limit its movement, so, because that's what gives the IK its possibilities to move and to generate the IK move. So we're going to we loaded that. I'm going to load this one again here, just make sure I have it loaded. There it is. And we're going to connect it to the limit information, the translation, but we're not going to connect it directly to this. We're going to connect it to an attribute that is the limit, enabling the limits to be on and off. You can see here the minimum translate limit enable and the maximum translate limit enable. What that does is that controls if this active thing is on or off. And with that, we'll just generate a connection from that to this. So whenever the switch is 0, there won't be limits on that thing. Whenever the switch is 1, the limit will be turned on, so this way this object won't be able to move. And in that way, I'm going to just say, okay, the limits that I want this thing to be on is 0, meaning it won't move, and I'm just going to turn them on. Actually right now it's off, so I cannot turn it on right now. Hold on. So I made 0 on all of these guys, and that means that whenever this controller's attribute ikeySpline is 0, that object won't be able to move. That's why the attributes are all turned off, but the values are all 0. Now if I try moving this guy, at this moment there are no limits to it because the limit information is turned off. I'm going to bring it back to 0, and if I turn this on here to 1, then I cannot move this object. I only am allowed to rotate it. We need to do the same thing with the root box. So now what I simply need to do is I need to select the shoulder box, the root box. I'm going to load it on the right, and I'm going to look for that minimum translate and maximum translate enable. And in the same case, I need to open up the attribute editors for this and make sure the values are 0, so it cannot translate when this guy is turned on. So when that one is turned on, this guy cannot move. It will be able to move only to the FK controller and nothing else. Alright, that makes it for this part. Now we need to create the same process for these guys, but these guys are slightly different. And what that is that we need to activate them. We'll just load them on the right and activate the minimum maximum, but we want to be aware that these controllers work with the join information, so the Y value cannot be locked in Y, the translate value in Y cannot be locked because, or cannot be put to 0, because it won't, it will flatten the whole spine. So we need to make sure that is taken care of. So I'm going to open up right now, make sure that this one is back to 0. I'm going to grab this first one, but you want to do each one at a time, so we don't want to get into working with things simultaneously. So minimum translate enable, maximum translate enable, and in this case because it's a join, we have to go down here under the limit information and that is the translate for it, and you see how the values in Y has a 15 plus the other ones are 0, so I'm going to just pass these ones to each one of their sides. There's a little bit of a thing that warns there, but don't worry about that for now. So to make sure that all the values are 0, 0, 0 for the X, this in my case 15 for 13 on both, and the minimum and maximum, and in translate Z 0, 0, 0 again. That way the translation stays constant. And I'm going to do the same with this one. Oh, I'm sorry, the previous one I didn't connect it, I think. Let me just make sure. Minimum translate enable, maximum translate enable. Yeah, I did not connect that, so I'm just going to make sure values are still 0, 0, 0, 15.13, 0, 0, 0, yes. So I'm going to connect them. So they are now enabled. Alright, so now I'm going to do the other one. Minimum translate and maximum translate. Oh, I was doing the one on top actually. So that one is connected already. The values have to be corrected here. There's a little warning there. So because it's limiting it to almost the same, so it doesn't like it, but in essence it should be able to do it. So now if my FK or my IK span switch is turned off, I can have freedom to move my switch, and if it is not, meaning if you turn it on, I can move now only using the FK, not the IK. Neither of this I can move anymore, but I can still rotate it and make my character behave in an FK manner. The only downside of this technique is that if you are working with IK and you have the upper body in certain position, right? Stretching in a certain way. You wouldn't want to stretch it too much because you get the whole thing distorted, but it's just to give you a little extra control of flexibility. And and if you're there, and your character is keyframed and opposed there, and then you decide to switch, the character is gonna go back to its original position. So you just have to be aware of that. Because you probably would want to animate in one way or the other, having to turn on. That way, if I have this one moved here, let's say it's keyframe there, and then I just go and switch, my character still goes back. Once I turn it off, it goes back to wherever it was. You can blend from one to the other, so you can play with the keyframes to try to match that other position, but still it's going to snap that other position. Alright, that is the case on this. Let me just remove this keyframe because I don't want to have that. Alright, so that's for the switch for the FK and IK. So at this moment we want to organize a little bit more, and we want to grab all the geometry, the body, the tongue, and the head group, and I'm going to group those things. I'm going to call it geometry group. Group. I'm going to put that inside of the character group, all character group. That way it's all organized there. And we are going to go and look for that geometry group, and we're going to turn off its inherit transformations. This way, at least for now, we can give the character and move it around and rotate it anywhere, and change, start creating a character that can be moved and placed anywhere. Alright, if you have grouped already the main all of it inside of the main character, no big deal. This file I had not done it yet because I'm working multiple versions. I don't have it, but pretty much it's just the same thing. This will be Sylvia, main character. Make sure that it run. That one is at the center of the world there. Alright, that's pretty much it. For now, what we have pending is just the stretchy arms and legs.